So we're back working on this '07 Yukon XL, and I'm investigating this U2099 code that's being logged in the BCM. And if we look at the description and operation of that particular code, it says there's a high-speed communication enabled circuit fault, short to ground. The symptoms are the vehicle will not start, and if the code is cleared, it may come back immediately or shortly after several ignition cycles. Here's the circuit description. It says the BCM applies voltage to the high-speed GM LAN serial data wake-up circuit when the ignition key is an accessory on or start to enable several modules for bus communication, depending on option content. That's the interesting thing here. Modules that may receive this signal are the EBCM, the electronic brake control module, which we have no communication with, and the electronic suspension control module, which we have no communication with, and the distance sensing cruise control, which this vehicle is not equipped with. Now, if you recall, with the other BCM installed, the vehicle would run. And it may be that there's a problem with the electronic suspension control module circuit, that it's expecting it to work, and because it doesn't, it's setting this fault code. And now I programmed it with the proper programming, and now it doesn't start because it's looking for electronic suspension control module, or there's a problem with this bus wire. It says the system voltage has to be between 9 and 16 volts, and the BCM attempts to enable modules connected to the high-speed GM LAN serial data wake-up circuit. It senses a short to ground on the high-speed LAN circuit wake-up wire. The output command is turned off while the malfunction is present. Modules use a default value for missing parameters. Module is never signaled, therefore the specific subsystems will not function. The vehicle will not start while the circuit is shorted to ground. So one thing I could do is disable that circuit right at the BCM and see if that would cause it or allow it to start, or disconnect modules. I've already got had the EBCM unplugged, but I've never had the suspension control module unplugged because it's above the spare tire, and I haven't had a chance to put this on the hoist. And my hoist is tied up right now. So I'm considering locating the serial data wake-up signal wire. I got to find it in the schematic here, and maybe just temporarily opening that circuit right at the BCM and see if that problem goes away. Let me find the electrical diagram for this. So here's the Mitchell version of this diagram, and it shows the serial data wake-up signal. It's not part of the networking diagrams. On connector X4 or C4, pin 19, dark blue wire, circuit 5985. And it says C power distribution. These diagrams are not great. I'm looking for more detail, so I'm going to try the power distribution diagram in the OEM service information. So in the OE diagrams, it shows the data communication enable signal, pin 19 of connector 3. So we're going to search for circuit 5986 and see how where that goes. So here's my plan. I could cut the wire here at the BCM or measure the voltage there, but there's also this connector in here, C115, which is under the hood by the fuse box. I think it's just under the fuse box. So I'm going to locate that connector and backpin that connector in that particular wire, the light blue wire, to see what the voltage is on that serial data wake-up signal. You can see it goes from the BCM through the connector to a splice to the electronic suspension control module, which is offline, and the electronic brake control module, which is offline. So disconnecting this electronic brake control module does not eliminate this wire going to that. So if there, I got a funny feeling we're going to find this electronic suspension control module is shorting out this serial data wake-up signal. But I'm going to locate connector 115, pin A8. So I think I'm correct. C115 is a big latched connector It has 3 rows of wires in it, and it's pin A8. So it's on the outside row. Oh, it's right on the corner. Well, that's convenient. A7, A8, serial data communication enable. So what color is this connector? 2200 series sealed white. So I'm going to see if I can find this connector and find that one wire. So I like to try to identify the connector by the colors of the wires on the 4 corners. So A8 is light blue, A1 is dark green, C1 is orange and black, and C8 is pink. And I think that's this connector right here. There's orange and black, there's pink, and underneath here there's green. So it should be this wire, right? Come on, why is this? Or is it this one? No, that one's got a yellow. Unless it changes color after it goes through that connector. I don't think it did, though. Well, I'm going to get a better look at this connector. Okay, so that is the right connector. There's the light blue wire in that bottom corner. And it's across from the pink one on the top. So we're going to back pin that wire and read the voltage on it with the key on. So I got a voltmeter back pinning that light blue wire to ground at the alternator bracket. Key on, and I read 0.19 volts. So I'm going to disconnect this connector. Obviously the fuel pump and network goes through here on the way to the back. But if I disconnect this connector and then measure the voltage, if my short is downstream, then the voltage should come back. So with that connector unplugged, I read 11.38 volts on it. So that wire somewhere on the way to the BCM or at the suspension control module is short at the ground. I wonder if it'll crank now. I'm going to cycle the key and see if it'll crank. I don't think it'll run because that probably has the fuel pump circuit in it. Look at that. Well, that explains it. Let's try and get it in the shop. So looking at what's in that connector, and there isn't anything really seriously important. Steering angle sensors, CAN high speed, the CAN bus signals to the ABS and the suspension control module, door lock actuators. I thought fuel pump circuit went through there, but obviously not. Trailer connector signal, trailer, center high mounted stoplight. So we're going to put it up in the air and find the suspension control module and unplug it. So that suspension control module lives up above the spare tire up there. There, you can just barely see it, a portion of it. I'm wondering if there's another connector on the way to it. It controls this air compressor and the air shocks. See the connector here with a blue wire in it. I'm going to see if there's another connector on the way. I really don't want to drop the spare tire unless I have to, because I'm sure this is going to be a shit show. This thing is rusty, man. So here's the schematic for a portion of the electronic suspension control module. There's that circuit 5986, which is the serial data communication enable circuit. And there's the C115 I unplugged under the hood, but there is no connector between there and the actual suspension control module, so I have to drop the spare tire to access it. Oh joy. So behind this access door in the back bumper is the access hole for the spare tire hoist. I don't think it's ever been taken down, so the key is seized. Oh, brother. I'll spray some penetrating fluid in there. You never know, it might work. You're going to get some penetrating fluid. Well, that's what you have to do. Drill it out. Now let's see if the release rod will work in there. So the spare tire lowered until the secondary lock caught, and it's solid. But I found the module. There it is. It wasn't bolted up there anymore. I'm going to try and unplug it. Fortunately, it was just sitting up on top there. So I'm going to try and get this connector off. It's full of sand and rust. So there's the module. A little rusty, but I don't see any perforation through it, but then it could be compromised. It was sitting up there like that. This is the top. The connector looks clean. Got the connector off. Right here. So I'm going to plug that connector back in and see if that problem is still there. So C115 is plugged back in, key on, electronic suspension control module disconnected, 1141. I bet you we have communication with the EBCM, the anti-lock brake control module now. So let's do a network scan on this thing now again. Code scan. I want to see what computers respond. Curious if the anti-lock brake module, which is plugged back in again, will respond. We still got that crankshaft variation relearn code. Well, that should go away with the procedure. Lost communication with the ABS. That's history. Yeah. Right rear wheel speed sensor circuit fault, device voltage high, brake booster pressure sensor, device low, front end sensor, airbag, option configuration error. Bet you that original BCM will be good again. Option configuration error, variant not programmed. It may not have programmed that BCM correctly because of that serial data shorted wire. I think I'm going to put the original BCM back in. Well, I seriously doubt the customer is going to fix this suspension controls because it needs a compressor, I'm sure. It's all corroded. And it needs the electronic suspension control module. So I was just about to, in fact, I'd already put a plastic baggie over the connector and taped it up when I realized that the high-speed data bus goes through that thing in and out. So I really need to put a jumper between pin 39 and 24, otherwise we're going to have an open in the termination resistor because it's in series in that circuit. You can see it comes in, high-speed bus plus, goes through the suspension control module, and then it goes through the terminating resistor and back on the low-speed wire. So I need to jump 39 to 24. Damn. Otherwise we're going to have an open bus. So here's a picture of the electronic suspension control module connector. And this pin 32 is battery power and pin 47 is ground. And it's 39 and 24. So right in the middle here. 17. It's going to print this diagram. So I had to do it again. Turns out both circuits actually go through there. 39 to 24 is low speed and 40 to 25 is high speed. So I'm going to fold this like that and this like that, wrap some electrical tape around that and put a baggie over the connector. I got an ohm meter across 6 and 14 right now and it reads 62 ohms. Before it was 120. So there is the baggie wrapped around there, tie wrapped to seal it. Anyways, that'll keep Mother Nature out of there and keep from compromising the CAN bus wires. And if they ever decide they want to fix it, well, they just need to plug in another module and program it. So there it is, running with the original BCM in it. We're going to clear all the codes out of it. Now it does have an ABS problem now. It does have an airbag problem. It does have a computer code in the BCM as well. Let's see what those are. So I'm going to clear all codes. I don't know why this is over here. Now that the ABS is talking, we have some airbag codes. 21 computers. We're still missing the suspension control module. So let's do another code scan now and see what we've got for codes. Fortunately, this is fast. Okay, we got the crankshaft code in the ECM. We should be able to clear that. We have a front end sensor 2, which I believe is on the right side for the airbag. Lost communication from a vehicle dynamic control module, which would be the suspension control module. That's to be understood. Wow. No more option configuration error codes. See, I don't think that BCM programmed correctly because of the network problem. Well, that's what happens when you throw used parts in there. On a positive note, though, our parasitic draw is gone now that I removed all that hocus pocus remote car starter shit. So, one front end crash sensor. Let's try the crankshaft variation relearn. See if we can get rid of that. Functional test, crank variation learn. I gotta run it till it's warm though. So to do that crankshaft variation relearn, the coolant temperature has to be above 70 and it's only 40 right now. So we're gonna run it for a little while. So I have to hold the brake pedal and stuff, so I'm gonna have to do this with the scan tool in the vehicle. Okay, so that seems to have worked. Let's clear the codes. And let's read the codes in the engine control computer. Okay, so we got rid of the crankshaft code and the check engine light is off for now. But I see the ABS light is on, so. And we did an engine scan. Let's do another scan and see what's going on in the ABS. No, why is the ABS light out? I'm sure the ABS light was on. Or maybe I gotta drive it. Gotta go through self-test. Just the code in the BCM now and the airbag front and then crash sensor. Well, discuss the continuing repairs with the customer. Well, that's it for now, other than putting it back together, putting the steering column back together and securing some wires under the dash. This has been fun. Thanks for watching.